Salvete omnes, salvete amici, nomen mihi est, Decimus Aurelius Ingeniarius. Hello, good day, good evening from wherever you are watching in the world. You are watching the Nova Roman Twitch channel, the Roman Twitch channel here on the internet. We are back after a very long hiatus, playing the Republic of Rome board game broadcast, board game brought to us by Valley Games. And we are now entering, which I think is session 20. And we had one of our good senators, Quintus Octavius, do some calculations for us a little while ago. We've been playing this board game for over 31 hours, which is incredible. That is a long time when you add up all of, I guess, the YouTube recordings anyway, if you're watching this off our YouTube playlist. So we're here again tonight. Ironically, Quintus Octavius is not joining us. We're going to have a short session this evening and play the combat phase of what turn are we up to? Turn 13. So we're going to see two different wars fought tonight by our senators that are joining us, and you'll see them very shortly. So let's not delay. Let's bring ourselves across into Tabletop Simulator. For those watching live, you'll see a brief transition, and we'll be back into the main field. Hang in there. Don't go. All right, we are now back in the main virtual tabletop environment, tabletop simulator. Everybody should be able to see the game board. And if I do some testing and move around, and we will look at the live stream, and that is also occurring thusly with some audio movement. So let's do what we all do and have our senators give us a say.
Salvete.
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 Yes, good, very good. Thank you, team, for joining us. Oh, cool! All the cameras are working. That's magnificent. Right, so let's do a quick recap for our audience and for ourselves, considering how long it has been. And we're going to move our view over to our active wars section over here. So at the end of the last Senate phase, we were faced with a conundrum of to which wars our good Roman Senate was going to take on. There was certainly much discussion about that and how to distribute forces. And you can see here that the Senate has decided to not prosecute three of the wars, so Numantine, Third Punic, and the Fourth Macedonian. There was another war there, but the Senate had an allied events card, I think a new alliance card. That's actually this one down here. And that enables them to essentially make a war vanish. That war has vanished into the top 6 cards of the deck, so they will see that war again at some point in the future. That is assuming they are successful tonight. Now, tonight is all about defeating the wars here. There's it looks like there's a province they're looking to claw back by the looks of things. Is that what's happening here? There's a provincial war going on here. So this Sicilia at Cyprus, and then we've got the Germanic migrations that we're taking on. So if I look over here, so we obviously lost that province, did we, to a conflict? I'm not quite certain what's happening. There must have been an event card. Is that right? Is that why?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, and this might be wrong, is it perhaps this was the province we lost to the war, and then we sent the war back into the deck? So
True.
what's left?
So, and was there a question then as to whether we still needed to fight this provincial war?
Perhaps, but we obviously came to the conclusion that we did. It's probably too difficult to unravel at this stage.
Interesting. I mean, we'll play some commentary from the end of the last time we played. I'll be keen to pull that up after the end of this, just for the sakes of tonight. We'll go ahead and prosecute this provincial battle anyway to see what it's like. We may not actually have to do so if we got rid of the joining war, which is what's happened here. But we will run through the motions. So if we end up losing that war, we'll obviously verify, or stalemate or something. We'll verify as to if we even needed to fight that war in the first place, and we'll just take note in case it was unnecessary. So really, it could be quite positive tonight. Well, actually, you sort of need to still win the Germanic migrations, because if you've got 4 or more wars, it's game over. So you definitely need to win Germanic. You should probably win this provincial one as well, albeit we may not actually have to play that because we used the new alliance card on that particular war, and which would subsequently bring that back. I would suspect that we don't have to do that battle, but let's run through that motion anyway, just to see what that's like. So let's move into that then. Perhaps let's we'd normally do this in a particular order. You've got the Rome console with Fabius, and we've got the field console with Flaminius there. Noting our field console is actually online tonight. I'd perhaps be interested to do the Germanic migrations first, noting that perhaps the other one may not be necessary. So let us program, and we've brought up the combat calculator for those watching along at home. We're going to start punching in those details now to give us an idea for us presently, and also for those watching at home about what's happening. So we're taking note. Hey, there we go. Great for the tier 1 sub there. That's much appreciated. Soe. Yes, let's hope that Fabius lives up to his name. Indeed. Thank you. Thank you, Metellus. Good to see you there. It's brilliant for you to drop by. So we're going to put in all the details there. So if somebody wants to be doing that, yes, excellent. Somebody's putting the details into the combat calculator. So we've got the commander's military rating of 4 for Flaminius. We're seeing the strength of the Germanic migrations is at 15. There is no requirement there for sea support or any naval forces, so it's purely a land battle here. And our danger noodle numbers are 10 and 11 for disaster and standoff. So when it comes to rolling tonight, we obviously want to get an outright victory. We can't have a stalemate, we can't have a standoff, and we don't want to hit a 10 or 11 on the board. But I think the stats are pretty good, aren't they? If the calculator is up to date, we're looking at about a 75% chance of victory, which isn't bad. We've had better odds before, I think, folks. Is that right? Good. Somebody's praying to Mars for us all in the chat, which is excellent. Certainly, again, with these dual die scenarios, it's always good to have the extra support of our pantheon and of the gods. So final checks. Yes, the disaster and standoff numbers are in the calculator. There are no leaders attached, which is always a positive. Now, our legion and fleet strength, or legions only here, so we've got 22 legions, noting the veterans count for 2, and we've got 6 of those veterans there to bring up our stats. Everybody happy with what we see on the combat calculator so far?
Yes, that looks correct.
No concerns from our senators. Are you happy there, Commander Marco Wedia, with Fabius?
Yes, it looks good.
Good. All right, so let's bring us up to our combat results table, and I'm going to adjust the screen for everybody playing along at home, and have a look at the field here. So for an end result, we're going to have roll the 3d6, and then we're going to add 11 to that result, which will bring us up to a particular value. So 11 as a multiplier or a modifier rather is actually quite good. So in fact, it's nearly within default victory territory. We'd have to roll pretty darn low tonight for us to not do so well. So we roll any sort of sensible number, add 11, and we should get that outright victory or some sort of victory that we need tonight. So Fabius and it's not Fabius, rather it's who is our commander? Marco Wedia and Flaminius. Are you ready? All right, Marco Wedia, when you're ready, roll your 3d6.
Have we lost her?
No,
I think she's
rolled the
rolled.
dice.
There it is.
Got
It
5.
is low, right?
5.
It's
5
low,
plus
but
11.
I think that's okay.
Yeah. 16.
Victory.
16. Victory, 2 losses.
That's positive. So it's still a victory. We're going to prosecute that war. That's brilliant. So let me bring up
But-
our checklist.
Hey, Flaminius. Hey,
Yes.
Flaminius.
Yes.
It is a success. So we've let's bring us back down and let's do what we normally do and process all that. So first of all, let us go ahead and lower our unrest level by 1. So we'll take that from 5 to 4. Excellent. Now, how many forces have we lost there? Is it 2 and 2?
2.
Yes, 2 legions, 2 fleets. We've got no fleets to lose, but we are going to lose 2 legions. So this has to be randomly selected. So if we want to put them into the Legion Destroy bag and then pull out the first 2, I can do that now. So I'm going to pick those up, drop those into there, and then we're going to pull them out, which is a random. So we've got, oh no, it's a veteran. That's a bugger. And, 2 veterans. That's pretty hefty as a cost. So let's.
I'm going to ask chat back at home. What was the likelihood out of that to pull 2 veterans? I want to hear,
Who
I want to hear
wants
what
to do
the
the
stats
math
are.
out of what we're? Does somebody want to pull the rest of the legions out, and we'll let Mark Wedia choose a veteran? Maybe you pull the next one out. Although Marker gets to choose, so let's pull all those out, and Marker can choose which one she'd like to be a veteran. It's not very military orderly. Okay, there you go. Mark Wedia has pulled out the 16th Legion, I think there. That's very good. So if you want to pull out your 16th Legion veteran token, and for those that are running veteran legions 18 and 17, you perhaps want to lose your markers. So just want to check whoever's running. I think Tiberius Cornelius, you've got one. And actually, I think Mark Wedia's got, I know, 17 we're looking for. Who's running 17 or was? Maybe it's one of those veterans without a Patronus anymore, perhaps. All right. So otherwise, we can throw those back in our Legion bag for a future call. All right. So what we also need to do from here is just inspect that war card, see if there's any other conditions that's come off that. So let's go ahead and add 15 to the state treasury. That's giving us some coin. If somebody wants to do that, 15 onto 57. Good. So Tiberius Cornelius is working on that. It's immediately going to create the province of Gallia Nabrensus once attacked, regardless of the battle result. So somebody wants to pull out the new province for us and stick it in the forum. We have a new province that we will get to allocate in a future state. Well done. Thank you to Appius Rufius for pulling the new province out. That's fantastic. And that will then release the attacks on the two Gallias, which I don't think we have any of the Gallias yet in terms of provinces, and Illyricum is no longer being attacked. So, yeah, we can remove this province under attack, and Illyricum is no longer under attack as well. So we can pull that out, which is good. Excellent. Now we also need to do some changes for Flaminius. So as it reads here, we should probably do the death chit draw. So for every 2 legions lost, actually I'll read it straight here. Mortality is equal to the number of units lost of Senate forces. So those 2 lost, so 2 chits need to be drawn. So let's bring ourselves over to the mortality bag. And we'll let Mark Wedia, you can draw your own 2 mortality chits. So you just don't want to draw the commander's number. So we've got 14, and the other one is 11. Let's double check. He's not either of those. Gee, that was close. He's safe. Flaminius survives the battle, so that's fantastic. They go back in the mortality bag, which means now we can talk about your popularity and influence that you gain. So again, I'll read from here. The commander increases his popularity by half, fractions rounded up, of the unmodified land value. So that is 15. You divide it by half, that's 7.5, rounded up, that's 8. Is that correct? Does anybody want to disagree with me on that?
No.
Cool. So it will be a popularity of 8. Well, I think that'll max you out almost for Flaminius. So let's go across and check out Flaminius's card. So he will get an 8 popularity now. So he was nearly there, unless you already had one. So go ahead and update that token marker. And it'll be somewhat similar, I think, for the influence. So increase influence by half, fractions rounded up again. So another 8 influence for Flaminius. Oop, went underneath. So, yep, you can update his influence token as well. Would you like me to pick up the token for you and realign it? There we go. There we go. And you can update that counter. So, yes, becoming a little bit more influential and popular there due to the wonderful result. So, checking the card, we've added the 15 coins, we've created the province. Nil further to do there, so we can now go bin that war card, and that is potentially 50% of our problems gone. We'll leave those war forces out there for the moment and bring them back shortly in the next phase, which will be in the next session that we run there. All right, now let's talk about Fabius. So as we mentioned before, we may not actually have to do this war because we removed the associated war card, which is now somewhere in the top 6 of the deck. And we look again at that new alliance card here. And it reads, a neutral state sides with Rome, shifting the balance of power. The enemy's sue for peace must be applied to a war or revolt or HRAO's choice at the end of the Senate phase, which is what has occurred. And the state collects half of any spoils of war rounded down. Shuffle the war into the top 6 cards of the deck. if the selected war is a pretender province, the revolt is completely defeated. Now, this was a case here where their war had taken over control of the province because it was attacked because we're using provincial war rules. So one would argue that we may not have to fight this, but let's go through the motions anyway. That way we've covered all bases. And who knows, we like a bit of a challenge anyway, and we want to draw this session out to at least half an hour. So who would like to act as commander in the stead of Quintus Octavius? I think we might have said Pontifex Maximus might have been a nice stand-in to do the role. How about you, Numerius Aurelius? Would you like to do the role? So let's bring up the stats for this war. I think it's pretty easy. Commander's military rating is 4. The strength is it's 2, and there's no other provincial forces on there at the moment, so it's literally just going to be a strength of 2. I think we'd associate a number of forces to also fight a particular war. So it's strange then that we would allocate forces to the war knowing that we're going to get rid of it. But I guess there was a decision made by the HRAO at the very end of the Senate phase to action that particular war card that was there. Yeah, how unusual. But let's go through and fight it anyway, just for sakes, just for practice. So we got the strength at 2, putting this into the combat calculator. There's no danger numbers or anything like that associated with this. There's no leader because it is really winning it back. It almost seems, yeah, we don't need to do this, but I'm interested to still see the results nonetheless, noting the strength of our forces. Well, hang on, our war strength is 2, fleet strength is 7. Yep, so we've got 2, 4, 6, 7. Great, so let's go ahead and going to add 9. 3d6 there, Pontifex Maximus, when you're ready. Right, the roll has been made. It's going to come up on our screen. 17. Yeah, absolute outright. When we add 9 to that, there's going to be no losses.
Completely squashed them.
Yeah. All right. So we won't action any of the details for unrest or popularity and influence. We can certainly do that post session, but assuming that we can even take credit for that victory, it will reduce the unrest level. Fabius will get the results of the victory there, and you guys will march on safely, having only 3 active wars on the cards at the end of the combat phase. Because obviously noting somebody under Fabius, like, don't kill me in chat. Yes, Fabius demands blood. Obviously, having 4 or more wars at the end of the combat phase would be bad. That would end our game, but it looks like we were successful tonight. Assuming all things were good, noting the war card that was gotten rid of. So that means in the next preceding year, you'll have to take on these 3 wars plus any others that are drawn. Again, keeping the tension high for us all. Any commentary from our senators? Because this is starting to bring an end to our...
Did Fabius already get the influence associated with this war?
So we won't add anything to Fabius just yet. We'll do that out of session if we work out that wasn't a legitimate battle. I'm not convinced that we have to fight that provincial war. Noting we got rid of the alliance, used the new alliance to get rid of the war on top. But we'll check our records, check our last YouTube video. We can see what that last war was. And see if there's any other actions. We'll consult those SMEs and the rule books and check the rule books ourselves to see if it was absolutely necessary to even bother fighting that provincial war.
Have we revealed the new province on the map, revealing the fog of war?
Oh, I like that.
That's always a fun event.
The new one is Gallia Nabrensis. That's the new province. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Now, the question is, I forgot what the map looks like. So where does it sit?
Was it up here? Is it?
I want everybody to place your cursors on the screen where you think it is. Okay, so far I'm seeing disagreement. I need you all to agree before I reveal it. So Appius Rufius thinks it's much further to the west, but I've still got people doing it to the north. All right, so I need everybody on map. So far, I've only got 2 hands. I've got Tiberius. Okay, so everybody now thinks it's the west. Everybody's following Appius Rufius's thoughts here. All right, let's go and head to reveal it. 1, 2, 3. It's not working. Here, I need to do I've got the wrong one out. Here, we need to get rid of the hidden zone. Here we go, using this one. I think this is the eraser. Let's have a look. We may not do may not be able to do the reveal until I work out how to undo the fog of war. I'll have to remind myself how to do it later. There's been some updates to Tabletop Simulator since we last did it, but nonetheless, yes, we will have to reveal the new portion of the map. Cool. All right. Any other commentaries from our senators before we wrap up our very quick session tonight?
We did update the state treasury, right?
Yes, we did. We did update
Okay.
the state treasury. Yes, Tiberius Cornelius did that for us.
Good on us.
Good
That's
on
my
you
opinion.
all. Well, otherwise, yeah, that'll conclude it. This was all about trying to get us back together after such a long period of time to make sure we knew everything still worked, and to connect with our audience again, noting that we still exist, we're still here, we are still streaming. So for now, I'll do my very quick end of session recap for today, and we'll say goodbye to our senators for now. So senators, give us a walete.
But
Walete.
All right, and everybody
Walete.
watching live, don't go away. We'll be right back after this short. Okay, we are back for our end of session recap now. At the end of our very quick game tonight, just to test our connections again and our team. Only really going through what is the combat phase here and taking on some of the wars. So we had potentially 2 combats, both successful in those. One was the Germanic migrations, which they got through relatively tidily, minimal losses, some good work for Flaminius, a bit of extra popularity and influence. Shame we lost 2 veteran legions, though. That's a bit of a buggerance to lose some high-profile units there, but that is the way the cookie crumbles. And then, of course, we had the other war there, which was really just that province which fell to another war card. But that war card was, as we discussed in game, was the New Alliance event card, which they utilised perhaps on that war to remove that. But then, right, as I stated, that begged the question as to why they didn't prosecute another war if that was always going to be their move all along to use the New Alliance card on that particular war. But whatever the outcome, whether they needed to fight that province or not, they're safe. They've only got the 3 war cards. You know, I think they're continuing to push the big rock down the road. There's still a problem there, and they just continue to delay it. You know, you've got the 3rd Punic, the 4th Macedonian, Numantine. They're all sort of, there's a lot of strength now to that 4th Macedonian, 14 strength for the 3rd Punic. Numantine War's only 8, but they're still hefty, something to think about. And if they say draw 2 more war cards in the next session, or even 3, they're going to be quite stretched thin. Treasuries, you know, a little bit on the lower side. Unrest levels controllable. They've been in worse binds before, so we'll see what happens. So we'll start our next session again. Hopefully, we don't have to wait as long as we did for the last session, but we'll start our next session again in the revolution phase and bring us back through into turn 14, where we will then bounce through and see what the next session, see what the next Senate decides. Certainly, all the players at the moment are still keen to continue their game and continue the progression and see Rome survive. There seems to be somewhat of a gentleman's agreement through all the factions at the moment to try to control and make sure there is no outright winner. Nobody is truly gunning for console for life here, although we've had some which are eligible right now for votes or otherwise getting very close. Some senators that come to mind, you know, if I'm trying to do a little bit of a brief look around right now, I know over in Amirus Aurelius's faction, he's got Junius on 30 influence, so he's pretty close to, you know, a console for life. We've got Julius over in Tiberius Cornelius's faction, who's sitting on 29 influence, for example. There's some other 20s out there. There's a 26 from Papirius in Mark Aurelius' faction. So there are a few that are really close to that. In fact, is it for my senators who are in the background? What's the automatic appointment? Is it 35 influence? Yeah, 35 influence. Fabius himself is on 32, so he's also pretty close. So I think there was a risk there. Well, if Fabius wins that war, that's right. I think that's why they put Fabius on that, perhaps on that card, because if he won the war, he'd only get 1 influence and 1 popularity, so he would keep him under the influence cap. So there was some thought there by the Senate. So that was obviously the intent of the Senate to put Fabius against that war because they knew that he would get very little influence and therefore he wouldn't get the automatic console for life appointment after winning that victory, which he has. So assuming he even needed to fight that, he'll get 1 influence 1 popularity. There was 0 losses there. We would have to do a mortality chit draw. You know, I could even do that right now to make sure he survives. Yep, he does. So, so yes, the Senate had thought about that, particularly in terms of their commander placement. So that was good. Yes, I was just hearing one of my senators in the background. He asked if we did the death chit for Flaminius, and we did, and they survived. It was close, but Flaminius did survive, which is really good. So let us conclude our session there for tonight. For those that joined us live, hey, brilliant to see you all come back again. And hopefully we see everybody again at the next session. I am Decus Aurelius. This has been the Republic Board Game broadcast, session 20, I think we're up to. And until our next session, Walete.